would that be an issue too? This is a very have versus have not issue, right? Once this thing, if this really does, I mean, initially it's going to help people with injuries, but you said ultimately it could lead to this spectacular cognitive change.
Yes.
But the people that first get it should have a massive advantage over people that don't have it yet.
Well, I mean, it's the kind of thing where your productivity would improve, I don't know, dramatically, maybe by a factor of 10 with it. So you could definitely just, I don't know, take out a loan and do it and earn the money back real fast.
Yeah.
Be super smart.
Well, in a capitalist society, it seems like you could really get so far ahead that before everybody else could afford this thing and link up and get connected as well, you'd be so far ahead they could never catch you. Is that a concern?
Well, I think it's not a super huge concern. I mean, there are huge differences in cognitive ability and resources already.
Yeah.
I mean, you can think of a corporation as like a cybernetic collective that's far smarter than an individual. Like I couldn't personally build like a whole rocket and the engines and launch it and everything. That's impossible. But we have 8,000 people at SpaceX, and piecing it out to different people and using computers and machines and stuff, we can make lots of rockets launch into orbit, dock with the space station, that kind of thing. So that already exists where there's corporations are vastly more capable than an individual. But we should be, I think, less concerned about like relative capabilities between people and more like having AI be vastly beyond us and decoupled from human will.
Decoupled from human. So this is if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, I mean.
So you feel like it's inevitable, like AI, sentient AI, is essentially inevitable.
Super sentient AI, yeah. Like beyond a level that's difficult to understand. And impossible to understand, probably.
And somehow or another, so it's almost like it's a requirement for survival to achieve some sort of symbiotic existence with AI.
It's not a requirement. It's just if you want to be along for the ride, then you need to do some kind of symbiosis. So the way your brain works right now, you've got kind of like the animal brain, reptile brain, kind of, for argument's sake, it's like the limbic system basically, and you've got the cortex. Now the brain purists will argue with this definition, but essentially you've got the primitive brain and you've got the sort of smart brain, or the brain that's capable of planning and understanding concepts and difficult things that a monkey can't understand. Now your cortex is much smarter than your limbic system. Nonetheless, they work together well. So I haven't met anyone who wants to delete the limbic system or the cortex. People are quite happy having both. So you can think of this as being like the computer, the AI is like a third layer, a tertiary layer. So that is that could be symbiotic with the cortex. It would be much smarter than the cortex, but you essentially have 3 layers, and you actually have that right now. Your phone is capable of things, and your computer is capable of things that your brain is definitely not. Storing terabytes of information perfectly, doing incredible calculations that we couldn't even come close to doing. You have that with your computer. It's just like I said, the data rate is slow. The connection is weak.
Why is it so disconcerting, or why does it not give me comfort to think about, like when I think about a symbiotic connection to AI, I always think of this cold, emotionless sort of thing that we will become. Is that a bad way to look at it?
I don't think that's not how it would be. Like I said, you already are symbiotic with AI or computers,
phones, computers, laptops.
Yeah, and there's quite a bit of AI going on. So artificial neural nets. Increasingly, neural nets are sort of taking over from regular programming more and more. So you are connected. If you use Google Voice or Alexa or one of those things, it's using a neural net to decode your speech and try to understand what you're saying. If you're trying to do image recognition or improve the quality of your photograph, it's using the neural net's the best way to do that. So you are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Like I said, it's just a question of your data rate. The communication speed between your phone and your brain is slow.
When do you think you're going to do it? How long will you wait? Like once it starts becoming available.
Yeah, if it works, I'll do it, sure.
Right away.
I mean, let's make sure it works.
How do we make sure it works? We try it on prisoners? Like, what do you do?
No.
Take rapists?
No.
Cut holes in their head?
No, like I said, if somebody's got a serious brain injury.
Right.
And there people that have like very severe brain injuries. And then you can fix those brain injuries, and then you prove out that it works, and you expand and make more and more brain injuries solve more and more, and then at a certain age we all are going to get Alzheimer's. We're all going to get senile, and then moms forget the names of their kids and that kind of thing, and so it's like you say, okay, well this would allow you to remember your names of your kids and have a much more normal life where you're able to function much later in life. So I think that essentially there would almost everyone would find a need at some point if you get old enough to use Neuralink, and then it's like, okay, so we can improve the functionality and improve the communication speed, so then you will not have to use your thumbs to communicate with the computer.
Do you ever sit down and extrapolate? Do you ever sit down and think about all the different iterations of this and what this eventually leads to?
Yeah, I mean, think about it a lot. There's, like I said, there's not something that's going to sneak up on you. There's like getting FDA approval for this stuff is not like overnight, and there's I mean, we probably have to be on like version 10 or something before it would realistically be a human AI symbiote situation. So you'll see it coming.
You see it coming, but what do you think it's going to be? Like when you're alone, if you have free time, I don't know if you have free time, but if you just sit down and think about this iteration, the next, onward, keep going, and you drag it out with improvements along the way, and leaps and bounds and technological innovations, and where do you see it? What are we going to be?
Like when?
25 years from now, what are we going to be?
Well, assuming civilization is still around. It's looking fragile right now. I think we could have in 25 years, probably something. I would think there could be a whole brain interface.
A whole brain interface.
Something pretty close to that, yeah.
How do you define? What do you mean by whole brain interface?
Like almost all the neurons are connected to the sort of AI extension of yourself, if you want.
AI extension of yourself.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Like when you say AI extension of yourself?
Well, like I said, you already have a computer extension of yourself in your phone, and computers and stuff. So, and now online, it's like somebody dies, there's like an online ghost, that their online stuff is still alive.
That's a good way to put it. It is weird when you read someone's tweets after they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instagram and their stories and stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever, Facebook and stuff. Like
that's a great way to put it. It's like an online ghost. That's very accurate.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that it would just be that more of you would be in the cloud, I guess, than in your body. More of you.
Whoa.